Hello everyone, welcome back to our TypeScript course. In this lesson we will learn how TypeScript enhances functions with types. If you know JavaScript functions, this will help you write safer and more predictable code. Let's get started. First, we'll delete code from our last lesson, and if you didn't see my last video lesson about TypeScript, you can go to my channel. And now we can create some simple function. Like in JavaScript, we need using keyword function. And next we need to call our function. Let's call our function great, and we'll be using one argument. It will be name, and our function will be print simple string like hello and name our user using method console log. And first add word hello and connect name our user. Okay, like you see, we created a simple JavaScript function, but in TypeScript you can add types to function, parameters and return values to catch errors early. And let's do it. Let's create types for our data. First, we can add type for our arguments. Our name add type string, and also we can add type our function return, and we can using void because our function returns nothing. If you didn't familiar with this type, you can go to my latest video about TypeScript, and in the last video we discussed the most popular types in TypeScript. Okay, and now let's look how it is work. We can call our function, and like you see, now our function required one argument string, but let's try to add something else like number. And like you see, I got mistake because our function required string. It's very useful feature because we can catch our mistake before we run our code. And let's try to add string like E1. Like you see, now everything works well and we don't have any mistakes. But you can ask, what if my function has more than one argument and return some value? In TypeScript you can specify types for both parameters and returns value, and this approach makes your functions more predictable. Let's comment this function and create new function. Create also simple function. We can call this function add, and this function will be take two arguments a and b, and will be return a plus b. Okay, and now how we can type in our function, and it's very simple. You do the same. First you add types your first argument, it will be number, and next you add type your second argument, it also be number, and in the end you need to add type returns value. Like you see, our function will be return number, and we also need to write in number. Okay, like you see, it's very simple, and now we can use in our function. Let's create new variable like sum and call our function create or add 5 and 3. And like you see, we don't get any mistakes, but if I try to change second argument and add another types like boolean, we will get mistake because our function waiting for we add number. Okay, correct this code, and Next, I want to talk about optional parameters. Sometimes you may want to make parameters optional. Use a question mark after the parameter name. Let's comment all our code and copy our first function passed here. I think it'll be more fast than create new function, and also create new parameter. It'll be age, but this parameter will be number. And now I show you how you can create optional parameters. You need only add question mark before your type. Like you see, we don't have any mistakes, and now we don't necessarily add age. Okay, and now let's try to using our age inside our console log. Add new tags. We can write you are and connect age and also years old. Okay, but if we using optional parameters, we always need to create condition, because we don't know, maybe parameters will appear at, maybe not, and we always need to check it. Create condition if age available, we can using our console log, but else we can create only console log hello and name user. Okay, and now let's try to call our function again. Like you see, now I'm using only one parameters and we don't get any mistakes because age doesn't necessarily, but we can add this parameter and it'll be also works well without any mistakes. You need to work with optional parameters very careful and always create condition. Okay, and next let's comment this code and speak about default parameters. You also can set default values for parameters if no values is provided. Let's copy our first function and create new parameters, name grading. It'll be also string, and now we can add default value. Let's add hello. And now we can connect our parameters here. Okay, and correct this mistake. And now when we call our function, we have one necessary parameters and one optional parameters. But if we want to add optional parameters, our function will automatically add default value and will be using hello. Let's try to add some names. Alisa, and do the same for Bob. But for Bob we also create new grading. We write hi. Okay, and now let's use in command tsk and convert our TypeScript file to JavaScript file. Add name our TypeScript file, and also don't forget about extension. Here's our JavaScript file, and like you see, here's our function. In the first line our function checked if we didn't add any arguments, this function will be using hello. But if we'll create some arguments, our function will be using our argument. Okay, delete this file. Okay, Today we learned how to use TypeScript with function parameters and return values, and how to work with optional and default parameters. In the next lesson we will explore classes in TypeScript. Don't forget to subscribe, like the video, and see you in the next lesson.